It's important to take time for yourself. It's important to understand solitude. Solitude is not just being alone. Solitude is much more deep than that. Solitude allows you the time to look within and think about exactly what you want and what you're willing to do to get there. Solitude allows you the mental clarity to figure out your next steps going forward in what you're trying to accomplish. The next steps going forward for the plans that you have for you and yours. Solitude allows you the time to take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Solitude has a lot of importance when it comes to personal development. Being social, networking, talking to people are very highly important skills, highly important attributes that you should definitely develop. However, I am simply saying that do not underestimate the importance of solitude. I'm really talking right now to these extroverts, the people who like to meet with a lot of people, like to have a lot of fun. Mind you, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to do that, and you always wanted to be in the limelight, have fun, and just do what you want to do. However, one thing that is very important to understand is you should never diminish the importance of you being able to sit by yourself and to think for yourself with no distractions. That is very important that you are able to do. If you're currently in an environment right now where it's very difficult for you to get the time to do that, I suggest you go ahead and you start seeking other environments where you will get the chance. For me personally, that's the gym. Personally, when I go in the gym, I go in solitude. I go by myself and I focus and I meditate. I lift the weights and I think about what I need to think about. I let out all the anger that I need to let out, the frustration, the stress of the week. And I go ahead and I put it all into the gym and I make sure my body benefits from that. Solitude is extremely important. Have you ever seen those monks in the Shaolin temples sitting by themselves and meditating, being by themselves so often? And have you ever asked yourself the question, aren't these people lonely? Don't they live lonely lives? Well, the reality is they're so focused on something so much more powerful than just being in a crowd. And let's be frank and let's be honest. A lot of the times for a lot of people, when it comes to being in a crowd, they're not in a crowd that's going to push them forward. Instead, it's a crowd to keep them where they're at or to bring them lower. And all of a sudden, when you start to practice solitude and you start drifting away from these people, they're going to ask you, where have you been? And you're going to have to be able to tell them, hey, listen, it's nothing personal between me and you. However, I've needed this time to myself. And if you ask yourself the question right now, if you were to say that to them, will they get offended? If they were to get offended, then you know the type of people that you're hanging around. And if those are the type of people you're hanging around, those are the only type of people who are going to keep you down. So it's better for you to be in solitude and focus on what you got to do. Put in that work. Allow yourself to be alone sometimes. Give yourself the space. I remember throughout school, I would go ahead and I would listen to music sometimes when I'm doing my work. At some point, I stopped listening to the music because I realized the music was a distraction. The music was something to make me think that I was moving faster. In reality, I wasn't. I was spending much longer to do the homework. I was spending much longer to do assignments that really were supposed to come from my ideas rather than come from somewhere else. I would be given a blank sheet of paper and told to write an essay that I could write about anything. I could literally write about anything. All it has to do is be in the right format. However, I took excruciatingly long just because when I was listening to the music, there were other thoughts and ideas being put into my brain that I was not able to think and hear my own self. Not hearing our own selves in life is one of the reasons why many of us have not achieved what we wanted to achieve, because we never give ourselves the time away from the distractions to look within us and find what exactly we want to do, how exactly we're going to achieve it, and how long will it possibly take us in order to reach that goal. Really think about that. Really think about how much around you is really distracting you. Think about how much certain people around you all the time is really distracting you? How much the type of music you listen to is really distracting you? Are you listening to music talking about the things that are going to push you further towards your goals? Or are you listening to music that is only going to halt you for the mentality that you need to pursue your goals? I'll give you an example. Personally, me, at one point, I used to listen to a lot of music, a lot of sad, slow music. Music that talked about not being able to do things, talked about struggles, it talked about depression, it talked about all these different things. However, one thing I notice is when I turn that music over into something that is pushing me towards something positive, turned it over into music where it was pushing me towards the goals and things I wanted to accomplish, things got better for me. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the people and the things that are going to get you closer and not further, that are going to get you closer and not keep you where you at. So evaluate what those things are and who those people are. Many times when you are around a large group of people and you are around people, but at the same time you still feel lonely, it's because you haven't worked on yourself. Unpopular take. Many times depression is a byproduct of you not doing what you're supposed to do. It's you not being the person you say you want to be. It's you not taking the actions, the steps, and doing what it takes to get there either. Depression is you not being satisfied with yourself. And when you realize that, you realize how much power you really have over it. You realize who belongs to who. You don't belong to depression, but depression belongs to you, and it's a choice to make. I understand some people have conditions and they have their own things. But most of the time, it's not because of any imbalance in your brain. It's because you aren't satisfied with yourself. So why not get satisfied? Why not do what you got to do to get yourself out of that mess? Why don't you stop the actions that are holding you back and then replace them with the actions that are pushing you forward? How about you get around from those people who are distractions and you get yourself some solitude and give yourself some time to think? You'll be amazed if you were to just sit in silence and you were to brainstorm. You'll be amazed what you could come up with. The human brain is a very powerful thing. And if you give it a chance to just breathe, you will be amazed by the things and the ideas that you end up coming up with. The most you should have around you is a pen and a paper ready and accessible for you to write down these ideas and thoughts. So when you get back out into a world of noise, you remember everything that you had jotted down when you push yourself in a position of solitude.